Number 4 is the word spitefully. S-P-I-T-E-F-U-L-L-Y. Spitefully. Make sure that you are spelling these all correctly, especially you, Victoria, because you have the cards today. Spitefully is an adverb. What do adverbs do? Colin?
Describe verbs.
They describe verbs. They describe how something is happening. So it is an adverb. Again, remember your tall letters. They should be tall. Like F, L, L, or F, L, D, and B. Make sure your D's and B's are pointing the correct way and they're not capital. Your letters with a tail, like P and Y. The top should only take up half the line. The tail should go below the line. The short letters, like S, I, E, U, A, V, and R, should only take up half the line. I should have a dot in the top half of the line. Remember this. I'll keep saying it until we've got it. But I would prefer not to have to say this every time. So spitefully, it is an adverb. It means that something is done. Make sure tall letters are tall, short letters are short, I's are dotted, T's are crossed. Something is done in a way, letters with a tail goes below the line, that something, so spitefully is an adverb, that means something is done in a way that hurts emotionally, not physically. That hurts, bothers, or embarrass is a word. I think I misspelled it on here. Or embarrasses someone. So spitefully, S-P-I-T-E-F-U-L-L-Y, is an adverb. It means that something is done in a way that hurts, emotionally, not physically, bothers, or embarrasses someone. So if you do something spitefully, that means you're doing it to hurt, bother, or embarrass someone on purpose. You're purposely doing it. Yes, Aaron? Emotionally is spelled E-M-O-T-I-O-N-A-L-L-Y. And embarrasses is spelled E-M-B-A-R-R-A-S-S-E-S. And when you're doing this, when you're doing something spitefully, it's on purpose. It's not an accident. You are doing it in order to hurt, emotionally hurt, bother, or embarrass someone. Here is the word in context. You would know if you had come back to check on me, I said spitefully, like you said you would. So that person is saying that in a way that they want to embarrass, emotionally hurt, or bother someone. So when you're listening for the story, you want to hear, okay, who is doing it and why are they doing it spitefully? Yes, Zari.
I watched the video from Math Ann's reading yesterday, so I can catch up.
Okay, thank you. Okay, next word, number 5. Number 5 is the word exasperated. Exasperated. E-X-A-S-P-E-R-A-T-E-D. Exasperated. E-X-A-S-P-E-R-A-T-E-D. Exasperated is a verb. That means it's an action. It's actually a past tense verb. Remember, a verb is an action or something that you can be. And it means bothered or annoyed to the point of anger. So exasperated is a verb that means bothered or annoyed to the point of anger. If you are exasperated, you feel bothered or annoyed by someone or something to the point where you are no longer just bothered or annoyed, you are angry about it. If you exasperated somebody else, that means you caused them to be bothered or annoyed to the point where they are no longer just bothered or annoyed, they are angry about it. Yes, Kingston.
I've exasperated my mom and I've been exasperated by my brother.
Very good. Kingston said that he has exasperated his mom. He has caused her to be bothered or annoyed to the point of anger. And he said that he was exasperated by his brother, which means that his brother caused him to be bothered or annoyed to the point of anger. You've all probably exasperated someone, probably your moms.
My sister.
And you've all probably been exasperated by someone, maybe even your mom. Your mom may have exasperated you. Smith is been exasperated by her dog. Maybe even currently. Okay, here it is in context. Of course she has a Metro card, answered Dad, fully exasperated. So when we read, you need to listen for exasperated. You need to figure out, okay, who is exasperated? Why are they exasperated? And was it a person or a thing that caused them to be exasperated? Okay, those are the words. Victoria, I will give you your 2 cards. Everybody's in their good listening position. Their heads do not go down. Heads really should not even be on hands because your hands should be on top of your desk or on your book. We are open to page 99. Make sure that you're listening carefully. Listen for spitefully and exasperated so that you know when it happens, why it happens, who does it, or who it happens to. Make sure you know the situation. Make sure you're also listening closely and following along so that when we get to the comprehension questions, you really don't have to look back in your book very much. You can answer them almost entirely from what you remember and what you comprehend while I'm reading. Okay, make sure you have your finger ready to follow along. Make sure you have your finger ready to follow along. Chapter 9, An Apparition at the Door. Once, I got up in the middle of the night because I was thirsty, and I saw Mom standing outside Augie's room. Her hand was on the doorknob, her forehead leaning on the door, which was ajar. She wasn't going in his room or stepping out, just standing right outside the door, as if she was listening to the sound of his breathing as he slept. The hallway lights were out. The only thing illuminating her was the blue nightlight in August's bedroom. She looked ghost-like standing there. Or maybe I should say angelic. I tried to walk back into my room without disturbing her, but she heard me and walked over to me. "Is Augie okay?" I asked. I knew that sometimes he would wake up choking on his own saliva if he accidentally turned over on his back. "Oh, he's fine," she said, wrapping her arms around me. She walked me back into my room, pulled the covers over me, and kissed me goodnight. She never explained what she was doing outside his door, and I never asked. I wonder how many nights she stood outside his door, and I wonder if she's ever stood outside my door like that. Chapter 10, Breakfast. "Can you pick me up from school today?" I said the next morning, smearing some cream cheese on my bagel. Mom was making August's lunch, American cheese on whole wheat bread, soft enough for Augie to eat, while August sat eating oatmeal at the table. Dad was getting ready to go to work. Now that I was in high school, the new school routine was going to be that Dad and I would take the subway together in the morning, which meant his having to leave 15 minutes earlier than usual. Then I'd get off at my stop and he'd keep going. And Mom was going to pick me up after school in the car. "I was going to call Miranda's mother to see if she could drive you home again," Mom answered. "No, Mom," I said quickly, "you pick me up, or I'll just take the subway." "You know I don't want you to take the subway by yourself yet," she answered. "Mom, I'm 15. Everybody my age takes the subway by themselves." "She can take the subway home," said Dad from the other room, adjusting his tie as he stepped into the kitchen. "Why can't Miranda's mother just pick her up again?" Mom argued with him. "She's old enough to take the subway by herself," Dad insisted. Mom looked at both of us. "Is something going on?" She didn't answer her question. She didn't address her question to either one of us in particular. "You would know if you had come back to check on me," I said spitefully. "Like you said you would." "Oh, God, Via," said Mom, remembering now that she had completely ditched me last night. She put down the knife she was using to cut Augie's grapes in half, still a choking hazard for him because of the size of his palate. "I am so sorry. I fell asleep in Augie's room. By the time I woke up..." I know. I nodded indifferently. Mom came over, put her hands on my cheeks, and lifted my face to look at her. I'm really sorry," she whispered. I could tell she was. "It's okay," I said. "Via." "Mom, it's fine." This time I meant it. She looked so genuinely sorry, I just wanted to let her off the hook. She kissed and hugged me, then returned to the grapes. "So, is something going on with Miranda?" she asked. "Just that she's acting like a complete jerk," I said. "Miranda's not a jerk," Augie quickly chimed in. "She can be," I yelled. "Believe me." "Okay, then I'll pick you up, no problem," Mom said decisively, sweeping the half grapes into a snack bag with the side of her knife. "That was the plan all along anyway. I'll pick Augie up from school in the car, and then we'll pick you up. We'll probably get there about 3:45. "No," I said firmly, before she'd even finished. "Isabel, she can take the subway," said Dad impatiently. "She's a big girl now. She's reading War and Peace, for crying out loud." "What does War and Peace have to do with anything?" answered Mom, clearly annoyed. "It means you don't have to pick her up in the car like she's a little girl," he said sternly. "Via, are you ready? Get your bag and let's go." "I'm ready," I said, pulling on my backpack. "Bye, Mom. Bye, Augie." I kissed them both quickly and headed toward the door. "Do you even have a Metro card?" Mom said after me. "Of course she has a Metro card," answered Dad, fully exasperated. "Yeesh, Mama. Stop worrying so much." "Bye," he said, kissing her on the cheek. "Bye, big boy," he said to August, kissing him on the top of his head. "I'm proud of you. Have a good day." "Bye, Daddy, you too." Dad and I jogged down the stoop stairs and headed down the block. "Call me after school before you get on the subway," Mom yelled at me from the window. I didn't even turn around, but waved my hand to show her so she'd know I'd heard her. Dad did turn around, walking backward for a few steps. "War and Peace, Isabel," he called out, smiling as he pointed at me. "War and Peace." Chapter 11, Genetics 101. Both sides of Dad's family were Jews from Russia and Poland. Papa's grandparents fled the pogroms and ended up in NYC at the turn of the century. Tata's parents fled the Nazis and ended up in Argentina in the 40s. Papa and Tata met at a dance on the Lower East Side while she was in town visiting a cousin. They got married, moved to Bayside, and had Dad and Uncle Ben. Mom's side of the family is from Brazil. Except for her mother, my beautiful grands, and her dad, Augusto, who died before I was born, the rest of Mom's family, all her glamorous aunts, uncles, and cousins, still live in Alto Leblon, a ritzy suburb south of Rio. Grands and Augusto moved to Boston in the early 60s and had Mom and Aunt Kate, who's married to Uncle Porter. Mom and Dad met at Brown University and have been together ever since. Isabel and Nate, like two peas in a pod. They moved to New York right after college, had me a few years later, then moved to a brick townhouse in North River Heights, the hippie stroller capital of upper Manhattan, when I was about a year old. Not one person in the exotic mix of my family gene pool has ever shown any obvious signs of having what August has. I've pored over grainy sepia pictures of long-dead relatives in babushkas, black and white snapshots of distant cousins in crisp white linen suits, soldiers in uniform, ladies with beehive hairdos, Polaroids of bell-bottom teenagers and long-haired hippies, and not once have I been able to detect even the slightest trace of August's face in their faces. Not a one. But after August was born, my parents underwent genetic counseling. They were told that August had what seemed to be a previously unknown type of mandibulofacial dysostosis caused by an autosomal recessive mutation in the TCOF1 gene, which is located on chromosome 5, complicated by a hemifacial microsomia characteristic of OAV spectrum. Sometimes these mutations occur during pregnancy. Sometimes, Carla, please pay attention. I don't know what you're messing with, but you don't need to. Sometimes they're inherited from one parent carrying the dominant gene. Sometimes they're caused by the interaction of many genes, possibly in combination with environmental factors. This is called multifactorial inheritance. In August's case, the doctors were able to identify one of the single nucleotide deletion mutations that made war on his face. The weird thing is, though, you'd never know it from looking at them. Both my parents carry that mutant gene, and I carry it too. Chapter 12, the Punnett Square. If I have children, there's a 1 in 2 chance that I will pass on the defective gene to them. That doesn't mean they'll look like August, but they'll carry the gene that got double dosed in August and help make him the way he is. If I marry someone who has the same defective gene, there's a 1 in 2 chance that our kids will carry the gene and look totally normal, a 1 in 4 chance that our kids will not carry the gene at all, and a 1 in 4 chance that our kids will look like August. If August has children with someone who doesn't have a trace of the gene, there's a 100% probability that their kids will inherit the gene, but a 0% chance that their kids will have a double dose of it like August. Which means they'll carry the gene no matter what, but they could look totally normal. If he marries someone who has the gene, their kids will have the same odds as my kids. This only explains the part of August that's explainable. There's that other part of his genetic makeup that's not inherited, but just incredibly bad luck. Countless doctors have drawn little tic-tac-toe grids for my parents over the years to try to explain this genetic lottery to them. Geneticists use those Punnett squares to determine inheritance, recessive and dominant genes, probabilities, and chance. But for all they know, there's more they don't know. They can try to forecast the odds, but they can't guarantee them. They use terms like germline mosaicism, chromosome rearrangement, or delayed mutation to explain why their science is not an exact science. I actually like how doctors talk. I like the sound of science. I like how words you don't understand explain things you can't understand. There are countless people under words like germline mosaicism, chromosome rearrangement, or delayed mutation. Countless babies who will never be born, like mine. Okay, who heard spitefully? Colin. What was the situation that was happening?
When Via said that her mom didn't come check on her.
Her mom didn't. So who did something spitefully?
Her mom.
Was it her mom? Smith, who did something spitefully?
Via.
Via. And what did she do that she did spitefully? What was the verb? She did something spitefully. Smith?
She was talking to her mom
So
spitefully.
she said something. She said it spitefully. Zadie, once you've written that, go ahead and close it. She said something spitefully. And who did she say something spitefully to? Victoria? Mom. So she did it in a way to hurt her. Why did she want to hurt her in that moment? Zadie?
Because she was kind of upset that her mom didn't come check on her.
Because she was upset that her mom didn't come check on her the night before, even though her mom said she would. Very good. Who heard exasperated? Who heard exasperated? Aaron? Exasperated.
I heard exasperated when Via's mom asked if Via had
What was that? If you don't remember the exact name of it, you can tell me what it was for.
to get on the subway.
The Metro card to get on the subway. Who was the one who was exasperated?
Her dad.
Her dad. Who was the one who exasperated him? Who exasperated him? The dad was the one who was exasperated, bothered or annoyed to the point of anger. Who was the person or thing, or what was the thing that exasperated him? Carla?
Her mom.
Via's mom. What was she doing that caused him to be exasperated? Don't just tell me asking that question, but what was she doing? What was that whole part? What was she doing that exasperated the dad? Michaela?
Via's mom didn't want her to get on the subway by herself.
So she was worrying. Very good. Via's mom was exasperating her dad because she didn't want Via to get on the subway by herself. She was worrying too much, which caused the dad to be exasperated, bothered or annoyed to the point of anger. Very good. Quickly, Victoria.
We said, "Cheese, Mom."
Yes.
That was a fun part about that.
Okay, so everybody listen to the questions. Make sure that you're listening carefully because this will really explain what exactly I'm looking for when I look at these answers. So read the questions with me while I read them out loud. Number 1, what does Via wonder when she sees her mom standing at August's door? What does this thought show you about Via? So, what is she thinking about when she sees don't answer out loud. This is what I'm trying to say. What is she thinking about? What is Via thinking about when she catches her mom at August's door? What exactly is she thinking? There's more than one thing that she's thinking, so you should include everything that she's thinking. What does this thought show you about Via? So the fact that she's thinking this, what does this make you see or understand about Via? Not about mom, but about Via. Not about what mom is doing, but what Via thinks about what mom is doing. What does that tell you about Via herself? How she feels, how she thinks, why she does what she does, whatever. Does everybody understand? Question 1. Okay, number 2. Why does Via argue with her mom at breakfast? So what are they arguing about? So don't forget to tell me, what are they arguing about and why are they arguing about this? A good answer will include what they're arguing about and also why they are arguing. Text evidence will tell you the what they are arguing about. Making inferences in your brain will tell why they're arguing. So does everybody understand the difference between what are they arguing about and why are they arguing about it? What they're arguing about means literally what are they saying? What is the argument? Why are they arguing about it means what are the reasons behind the argument? Why did they get into the argument in the first place? Number 3, summarize what you learn about Via's ancestry in the chapter Genetics 101. Remember, summarize means in your own words. So think about what Via talks about, her family history. Ancestry means family history. What does Via talk about her family history in that chapter, Genetics 101? And tell me in your own words. What is she saying in that chapter? In your own words. Does everybody understand number 2 and 3? Okay, number 4. What does Via mean when she says, countless babies who will never be born like mine? What does she mean by that? Did the book tell us what she means by that? No, so where does this answer come from? Comes straight from your head. Why do you think she said that? What does Via mean means, why did she say that? What is she saying? In different words, what does she mean by that? Don't tell me she means countless babies that'll never be born like mine. Why is she saying that? Does everybody understand number 4? Any questions about the questions? Okay. Again. Answer each question with 2 or more. I'm going to change it because some of you guys are still seeing at least 2 and thinking, oh, I only have to write 2. 2 or more complete sentences. Watch your grammar. 2 or more complete sentences per answer. Some of you may answer 2, some of you may answer 3, some of you might even get all the way to 4. If you're doing, or no, you shouldn't get to 4 because these questions take a little bit. So most of you should answer 2, but some of you can be to the point where you're answering 3. Some of you are stopping at 2, and I can tell right away that it did not take you 15 minutes to think about and write those answers. To think about the questions, come up with the answer, and then write it. There's no way that some of these questions took you 15 minutes. Some of this work that you're turning in to me took 15 minutes. A lot of you are turning in work that looks like you did it in about 5, 6, 7, maybe 8 minutes. So you need to make sure that you are turning in work that looks like it took you 15 minutes to do, because it did. Use correct grammar. There's a couple of you, the only thing between you and a 100 is your grammar. Use correct grammar and text evidence when needed. Make sure that you are not relying on text evidence for your whole answer, because text evidence tells me what happened. There are no questions that only want what happened. Pretty much every question needs a what happened and a why it happened. Some only need the why, like number 4. So you need to make sure that you are not fully relying on your text evidence. Please don't tell me this is text evidence. I know what the book says. I'm not dumb. When you do things like that, I can tell it's only to get extra space taken up. That's not okay. That will not count. Write the whole question. Don't try to get away with, oh, oops, I forgot to add that extra part. Darn it, silly me. It's right here. It's right in front of you on your paper if you're at home. Do not try to get away with that. You will automatically lose 10 points. at this point. 5 for not having the question written, 5 for not answering. Write the whole question correctly. Use the same exact grammar, use the same exact punctuation, use the same exact capitalization, use the same exact spelling. It is right here in front of your face. There's no reason to misspell the words that are right here or on your paper if you're at home. Write the whole question. Skip 1 or 2 lines, no more, no less. Write the whole well-written, thoughtful, which means you put a lot of thought into it, answer. Skip 1 to 2 lines, then repeat until 15 minutes is up. Any questions? Okay, make sure you are giving me 15 minutes of effort. Not 5 minutes, not 10 minutes, not even 13 minutes, but 15 minutes of effort. Okay, you will have your whole 15 minutes. You will have your whole 2 extra minutes. Go ahead and open your journal. Remember, pick the question that you know you have an awesome answer for first. Then, first the second, pick the one that you can give the second best answer to. Don't worry about answering them in order. Write the question. Carla, please do not forget to write the question. Make sure you're skipping lines because I need space to make comments, and also it's really tedious, which means tiring in an annoying way, to try to look at a giant block of messy text and try to pick out where one begins and one ends and whatever. Okay, when I say go, you will have 15 minutes. Make sure you are spending the entire time thinking and writing. Go.